Dave's just overused my rock crusher. Crushes it all up to a nice fine powder.
It's flour for making bread. Yum yum.
So my rock crusher I built takes rocks like that, dump them through the crusher, and out comes fine dust. Let's start welding this up so we can get it over and done with, and then start on the rear ones. I'm just gonna remove every second one here. I'm gonna weld those ones in. Once you do all the spot welding, you're ready to start grinding down the weld so everything's flush. It's about as smooth as a bald pussy. Now to get some Bondo on there and we'll be all good. Alright. Just need a little bit of Bondo. Use a scraper that's cut down. That's probably way too much. Knead this up a little bit. So I have a fire tonight, but it appears that it's starting to rain. It isn't really supposed to rain tonight, but see what happens over the next hour. Now that the Bondo's dry, gonna get ready to sand it. Since I'm going to be putting some Raptor liner on this, I'm gonna use this orbital sander, but if you want to have like perfect body finish, you'd want to sand it by hand. Before we get started on that though, it is story time though. Fedor is catching a plane home today from Whitehorse. And this is where we go down the rabbit hole. When you plan, well, I guess this trip was more of a spur of the moment trip to the Yukon in Alaska, but a month ago or so, he went to Ontario to visit his father, and while he was out in Ontario, he picked up this LJ that had aux lockers, front and rear lift kit and done up, and picked it up for a pretty good price, but once I seen it, this thing had been pretty rough. Wiring harness was all torn apart, had some issues. He had a lot of issues with it, trying to get it to run properly. Had some issues with the transmission heating up and all that, but he decided that he was going to take this on a trip to the Yukon. So his buddy flew in from Ontario and off to the Yukon he went. And then this past week, he was coming back from Alaska, coming up through Skagway, up to Whitehorse, and he got stuck in the Carcross Desert in the sand, and he overheated his transmission. So then he had it towed to Whitehorse, and he was going to get it flat decked back to Calgary here, but for some reason he changed the transmission oil and filter, and then all of a sudden it started working again. But needless to say, it didn't last that long because he made it as far as Watson Lake. I posted something like that on my Facebook a while ago, and Jeep died in Watson Lake, and he's stranded there for the night just on the weekend. So he's finally getting his Jeep trailer home. But that's one of the biggest things that always worries me when you plan a big adventure. I always try to make sure everything that I'm going to use is in tip-top shape. Unfortunately for him, it didn't work out that way, so it's going to cost him a pretty penny. Unfortunately, blown transmission, it's the 4.2 RLE, so that's not going to be cheap. You're probably looking at about $3,000 or more. The funny thing is, when I pulled mine out, the engine and transmission went to the record, and that transmission worked flawlessly. If Fedor would have had that Jeep then, I would have, gave him that transmission, but it is what it is. Let's get back to working on this Fender. Got that sanded down to where I want it. Used the block sander at the very end. Now I can remove the fender, put it on my little table there, finish welding it up, POR 15, and put it on for good. See how much of a struggle this will be to lift her out. Oh, she came out pretty easy. That's all welded up, ready for Bondo, but not gonna do that yet. We're gonna flip it over, do some work on the opposite side. Now to continue working on this, I need to grind this down, grind the rust off there, probably take that bracket off and clean it up as much as I can. Rust there, spot welded underneath. Actually, that kind of got tagged. I cut that, so we fold this down. Still got quite a bit of work to do yet. Now, I want to try to, oh shit, that did not bend the way that I wanted to. Just fucking kinked there. For fuck's sakes. What are you doing, over? Was a little rough in this corner. I had to tap it down. I got a little dent down there I gotta get out afterwards. This is where my end product's gonna be, so I need to trace this portion out and then cut it shorter. I just got some tape on there to trace the outline. Put a piece in the middle here, so can't mess it up. I'm gonna peel it carefully off, lay it down. Where am I gonna put it? I think probably right about there. Now that I cut that, that is gonna put me exactly where I need to be. I am just sealing off the seams now. And that'll stop any moisture from hopefully getting down in there and causing us havoc down the road. Seam sealer actually works pretty good. Just gonna lay some on top here, then go along with my finger. Because deep inside those pockets are rust issues for us. This tip on this gun was all dried up, but the trick is to take a drill bit and drill through the hardened crap. You ruin a drill bit in the process, but it works to free it up so that you can keep on using it. Got my finger here, just rubbing it along. All right, I spent pretty much all afternoon on this, finishing the welding. I got a little too eager with this at first because gonna have to redo some of it. I made a mistake on this side here, is that I grounded it down to match the profile of the tube, but I didn't do it on that one, but that's easy enough to do. Other issues I had with putting this together is that this piece of metal coming down had a gap there, but the seam sealer I used to fill it up. These edges from welding, put some putty on there, sand them down, just clean it up a little bit. Once this body work is taken care of, then I can get going with the POR, but the rear ones shouldn't take as long to do because I'm not integrating it with an existing Fender to make it work. I'm just creating a new one. So anyways, I think it's motherfucking beer time. I don't know what I want. Maybe I'll grab a chill coot. Haven't had one of those in a while. All right, it's motherfucking beer time. First thing I'm gonna say is I'm gonna have a good sip of this chill coot. As anytime you're doing any type of fabrication whatsoever, it is very time consuming. Doing body work, I find it's very time consuming as well. Doing these projects where you're putting the engine in, you're doing this, you're doing that, I find those move a lot quicker. This stuff takes forever to do. Body work is so finicky, and I don't even know where I am on this video. I've actually started it over a week ago. I started it, and I went camping, and I came back, and I did some other things, and then I figured, you know what, I don't know where I am with this video anymore, so I'm just gonna kill it. So, hoping to tie it up pretty quick. Anyways, I'm gonna end the video here. If you guys have any questions or comments, post them below. Otherwise, I want to thank you guys for watching.